What's up, Infected? Welcome to the Quarantine. Today I'm going to be reviewing a game by the name of Horizon Zero Dawn for the PlayStation 4. Now, the game takes place in the far future, where a cataclysmic event has essentially brought humanity to the brink of extinction and setting them back to, effectively, the Stone Ages. With that also said, there are now robots that now roam the world and have essentially overrun the remnants of the world, keeping humanity in little scattered tribes around the world. Now, with the plot, you take control of a female protagonist by the name of Aloy from a hunter-gatherer tribe. Aloy's past is very shrouded in mystery of where she came from and her origin, and her whole life has been wanting to know why. And because of this, she's actually shunned from her tribe, and in the very beginning, she's not even allowed to associate with them. So she's picked up by a very kind man and raised outside of the colony. He also is an outcast. At a certain point in the very early part of the game, Aloy is given the opportunity to become one, or at least fight for her right to become part of the tribe again, which is where the story starts branching out and opening up. And after this point, Aloy is allowed to roam the map as she wishes, following main and side mission paths, and the main mission, of course, trying to uncover her past. As Aloy roams around the world, she's going to be encountering large creatures, some modeled after dinosaurs, others modeled after actual animals, but they're all robotic and mechanical. And where the tribes are reasonably advanced, but they're still tribal, they have the technology to, sometimes scan some of these monsters. And so it's a very neat incorporation of like a tribal mentality with this super advanced technology incorporated into their society. But after defeating some of these monsters, Aloy is able to harvest some of the pieces out of them in order to then create, better weapons, or maybe upgrades and salves to be able to heal yourself, or pouches. And it's the general open world sort of game, similar to something like Far Cry. Now, the graphics in Horizon Zero Dawn are incredible. Now, I'm only playing on a standard PlayStation 4. I was not playing on a PlayStation Pro, which apparently looks even better. But even in a standard PlayStation 4, the game looks incredible. The controls are pretty much what you would expect. There's nothing a whole lot to say here. It's a very straightforward third-person adventure-style game. Again, if you take Far Cry and make it third person, the controls are very, very similar and very reminiscent. The gameplay itself follows your standard open world adventure game. You have your main quest that you're going to follow down, and those quests are usually a little bit more involved. They reveal some story elements. They usually are a lot more fun and a lot more in depth. But then you have loads of side missions that you can collect, and usually will allow you to access new and more advanced and better options, or not options, gear. However, the problem with those is most of those side quests can be boiled down to go here, get this, bring it back, go here, kill this, take this to this person, and they're very basic, and to be honest, they're not actually that much fun. Now, there are tons of collectibles in the game where you can get these mechanical flowers and you harvest them. Now, I'm not going to touch a whole lot on those because, to be honest, I didn't do a lot of them, and I'll get to that a little bit later. As for the controls, they're pretty basic. They're pretty much exactly what you would expect. You have your ranged attacks with your bow, which is your primary method of attack, and then you have your melee attack, which is almost useless until you get a fully upgraded spear, and then it's actually useful. And then, of course, you're going to be mixing your ranged attacks with different ammo types for the different ranged weapons, and trying to take down these sometimes incredibly large Buzzmaw, I think is what it was called, like the Tyrannosaurus Rex looking thing, and you're trying to dodge out of the way of its attacks and pull off shots and hitting its weak points in order to break off parts that, again, you can use to craft larger, better weapons or better gear. And it's actually very, very enjoyable. However, around the mid part of the game really starts to slow down. Now, in the very early part of the game is phenomenal. But then it slows down really, really bad in the middle, and it actually took quite a bit of effort for me to want to play it more. But then it starts picking back up as you get more towards the ending. So there's a bit of a pacing problem when it comes to the story.
What can I say? Special weapons don't come cheap.
The audio at the game isn't a whole lot to write home about. The actual audio score in it it's alright. The sound effects, they're pretty good. Just the simple noise of you walking through this long grass. You could hear all the grass brushing against Aloy, and you could hear the things on her moving around as she's, crouching and trying to sneak around. So the sound effects are pretty good. But the audio score itself is functional. There's nothing super awesome about it. It works and does the job pretty well. The storyline to Horizon Zero Dawn isn't bad. It's not great, but it's not bad at all. About 2/3 of the way through the game, you should be able to predict what the outcome of the game is going to be, and that kind of lets it down a little bit, but overall it is an enjoyable story experience. On that note, throughout this main storyline, you're going to get access to these audio logs that you can listen to and story little blurbs that you can read about. And honestly, those I actually really, really enjoyed trying to collect, because you get to hear through all these cataclysmic events that happen beforehand that you just hear about kind of in passing. You actually get to hear what the people that were living through it felt and what they were going through. And that's really, really interesting to me. Overall, Horizon Zero Dawn is definitely a game of if it's not broke, don't fix it approach to the open world game. And I'm not saying that in a bad way by any stretch of the imagination, because Horizon Zero Dawn is a very good game. It is very, very good. The gameplay is very enjoyable. The story, while somewhat predictable partway through, is very enjoyable and very engaging. And overall, Aloy herself is a neat character, and it's really fun to see her, her open up and her react to some of the information she winds up finding. It's not all good, however. The game does have a lot of problems, and a lot of those problems are the same problems that most open world games have, where after a certain point, which in this game is fairly early, you wind up becoming so strong that nothing is a threat anymore. And that happens fairly early. So at that point, you're just sprinting around the map and taking care of your business. And that's another problem, is that where the map is so big and you want to explore it, the problem comes from there's not a lot to do in the map. So there's no reason to really explore unless you're looking for the hidden items and the collectibles. In closing, I definitely recommend Horizon Zero Dawn. If you pick it up, don't expect anything revolutionary or anything to blow your mind, but expect a good, fun game. That's really the bottom line. The game is just very fun. Anyways, that is my review for Horizon Zero Dawn. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time in the quarantine.